Hello everybody, hope you're all well and thanks very much for all the support with my videos. Today I want to speak about a Eurostat report that came out in the last number of days that stated that Ireland is the second most expensive country for goods and services across the European Union. We come in at 42% above the European average, second only to Denmark, well ahead of countries like France and Germany as well. This isn't really surprising to more and more people who are struggling to put food on the table, pay sky-high accommodation costs, and they're struggling with sky-high energy and fuel bills also as well. And it comes on the back of an incremental increase in costs in the European Union over the last 8 to 10 years. In 2016, we were 29% above the European average, and now, as I said, we've increased to 42% above the European average, with housing costs at sky-high levels. Yesterday, there was a report came out that house prices are 10% above the boom in Ireland. Absolutely outrageous. More and more people can't afford to buy a home, and let alone afford to rent in Ireland as well, forcing more and more people into emigration, which is absolutely just disgraceful. But again, it's down to deliberate government policies that have allowed this to happen and occur under their watch, while profiting the very few at the top of society. Even food costs in terms of restaurants are 28% above the European average. And we've seen energy costs 18% above the European average, but the government's response has been to give subsidies to these big energy providers rather than tackling the huge profiteering that's taken place at source. And the whole contrived market for energy, because if you consider before the whole advent of privatisation and liberalisation of the market, Ireland had the lowest energy costs in Europe, but now we have the highest, 18% above the European average. Just remarkable. And as I said, the government was more interested in giving subsidies out of the public purse to prop up the profits of those companies, rather than dealing with the crux of the issue of making energy a basic need for people in terms of heating their homes. And more people die of fuel poverty year by year across Europe and in Ireland too, because they're afraid and can't afford to put their heating on as well, and badly insulated homes as well. We can report on that many times with council tenants living in disgraceful living conditions as well. And transport costs are 15% above the European average, again, which is benefiting the private providers and also benefiting the huge fuel bills which are coming in because of excise and taxes by the Irish political establishment. And where does this money go? Transferred back into the hands of these private providers and energy companies and so forth. Food prices are 13% above the average again, and which is a huge profits again. I reported on the previous video, which are forcing more people into food poverty. Currently it's about 10 or 11% of people are in food poverty in Ireland. When you consider that, it's about well over 500,000 people. It's a huge amount of our population are struggling to put the basics on the table every day. And many people are going without basic food to struggle to pay sky-high accommodation costs and rents as well in Ireland as well, which is just disastrous. And this is the reality to what's going on in Ireland. And the communication costs are 42% above the average. That's companies like Air, Vodafone making huge profits also as well. And alcohol and tobacco are twice the European average as well. But it's interesting because wages are not above the European average, despite what they try and tell us. They try and spin this narrative that Ireland is a high-wage economy. Ireland is a low-wage economy. 1 in 5 workers are on low pay. Yesterday there was a demonstration at the Dáil Éireann by a lot of young workers who were discriminated against. People under the age of 20 are on lower wage than the minimum wage at €12.70, which is absolutely minuscule compared to the huge accommodation costs people have to pay as well, and forcing more and more of a generation into homelessness. And they are on less money. Under 18s are on €8.89 per hour, which is well below what the minimum wage is as well. But it's legalised discrimination against workers. And we're 30% below the European average. We've 6th lowest wage growth over the last 15 years as well. When you consider the amount of issues with homelessness, food banks, poverty, queues at the GPO every night for people to get basic foodstuffs, and many people going to bed hungry, not to mention the people who are on fixed incomes who are struggling again with the cost of living disaster that we're all facing. And as well, last year it was reported that 1 in 10 people use food banks, and 1 in 8 are worrying about ability to provide children with food. This came from a survey of income and living conditions commissioned by the CSO as well in Ireland. This is also in a country where you have 10% of the people in Ireland have 50% of the wealth, and 2 billionaires have 50%, same as the bottom 50% in society as well. And why has this happened? It's happened because it keeps profits high for more and more people, and it keeps the system emboldened that creates food banks and normalises charity rather than dealing with the basic needs of people. And more people are struggling. I'm in the Liberties here today in Dublin, and as you can see just down the road, a hugely beautiful part of Dublin which has been destroyed because of a lot of policies, and this was a great shopping street for many years along Meath Street. And further down you can see that red building on the left hand side there is Little Flowers Penny Thinners, which has been going for many years, well over 100 years, providing essential food for people in Dublin. This is absolutely outrageous. This is becoming too normalised in Irish society, and it needs to be challenged. It needs to be challenged by ordinary people standing up for what's just and what's right in society. And what's just and what's right is when you see the huge amount of profits being creamed off by these people at the top of society, the policies of quantitative easing and a magic money tree being printed, the creation of inflation to transfer wealth towards the big wealthy class in society, rather than dealing with the underlying issues of inequality, of poverty, of people in deprivation. And these are the real issues that's going on in our society, and much the same as the Eurostat report, which states that Ireland is the second most expensive country in the European Union, which is forcing more people over the age into homelessness and huge inequality, and not to mention the other chaos being created through many more policies of the Irish political establishment with housing, the health service, and we've seen it with the immigration chaos as well. So thanks for joining me today on my video. I really appreciate all the support. Please press subscribe to my YouTube channel. We need to make an Ireland and a Dublin that we're proud of, a society that puts the needs of people first, and we need to start highlighting these unjust issues and how it's connecting with ordinary people's lives day to day, because it is morally unjust, but people need to speak up and speak out against this and actually demand and fight for real change in society to put the needs of people first. So thanks very much for all the support with my videos, really appreciate them, and please press subscribe to the YouTube channel. From Dublin today, take care, Slán, see you all soon, bye bye.